Greetings, friends and enemies. Welcome back to Art by Flan. And Lord help me, y'all, I just had to do another one. My last style challenge was so popular, I did a second one with different styles this time, obviously. Before we get started, though, this will be my style, and since you're probably familiar with that, if not, check out my channel. I'm going to do a few key talking points here. Number one, why didn't I do blank style? I didn't want to. It wasn't a style that was personally appealing to me, or it was from a media I hadn't seen before, so I just didn't do it. Number two, why is there no shading? I didn't want to shade it. I spent long enough drawing it, line arting it, and doing the base colors. I didn't want to torture myself by doing shading on it too, so no shading on this, personal choice. Number three, is this you? No, this is my character Maya. I wanted to do her for this challenge because I am so familiar with drawing her. And finally, will you ever do this style challenge with other YouTuber styles? And in the words of the great Magic Conch,
maybe someday.
We'll have to see. In the meantime, let's get started talking about the styles I've drawn this time. First up, we have Disney. Everybody and their brother has done Disney. I figured I'd throw my hat into that ring as well and drew Maya as a Disney princess. When most people think of the Disney style, they usually think of Disney movies from the Disney Renaissance. So like, no, not Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, things like that. And, oh, Aladdin in that. And what is quintessentially the Disney style is actually, when people think of that, they think of the style belonging to Glenn Keane. He was the character designer and I think lead animator? No, probably not lead animator. I think he put a lot of effort into designing these characters. So that's usually the style people think of when they think of a Disney style. You can see it again when he comes back for Rapunzel back, what, 2010, I think, all those years ago. So that's really the Disney style that people think of, but that's the one I've tried to replicate here. Moving on, we have another favorite of mine, Futurama. I know a lot of people have done The Simpsons, but I like Futurama more. Like, I don't hate The Simpsons, I love it, but I love Futurama more. It's a series I can always go back to. I quote it near daily, and it's something, you know, my very best friend and I have in absolute common. We can talk in quotes from the show, we make references all the time. I've watched the series start to finish tons, hundreds, if not thousands of times. There's some episodes I can quote verbatim. I can just tell you the whole episode. So I definitely wanted to do this style rather than The Simpsons. Futurama style is a lot more realistic-ish compared to The Simpsons. The Simpsons is very distinct, but Futurama bends and breaks those rules just a bit. Moving on, we have the most controversial style in the cartoon world as told by Ginger. The most quotes I've heard about this is that their mouths are too low, and they're absolutely right. But I chose this particular style because I really loved this show. As a kid, I enjoyed it, but as I got older and rewatched it, I really appreciated it much, much more. It touches on a lot of topics, especially for girls, that aren't hinted at or even mentioned in a lot of other cartoons. So it talks about things like, you know, watching the period video that every girl probably watches in school, and it talks about boyfriends and dating, but not in the way that that's something all girls aspire to, in a way that realistically girls would experience it, along with, you know, the popular girls and humiliation and hobbies and balancing your love and your friends. And it's a really amazing show, and if you haven't watched it in a few years, I definitely recommend going back and watching it again. It simply was ahead of its time in that sense. Moving on, we have another teenage show from my youth, the show 16. This show gave me unrealistic expectations about what to expect from working at a mall. I did end up working at my local mall, and it was not as fun or as interesting as the show made it seem. But I really enjoyed this show. Again, it had some concepts that were a bit ahead of its time, but made them easily digestible for preteens and younger kids to make them sort of, like I said, easily digestible for them. I remember reading when I got older about there was literally a gay guy in the show. That was the first I'd heard. Like, this is pre anything on TV right now, but there was actually a guy and he referred to himself as gay, and it was like, holy shit. But yeah, like, and what I love most is about the character, what the story was, one of the characters had a crush on him, but as soon as she learned he was gay, he backed off. They didn't fall into that trope of trying to change him or whatever. But 16 is a really great show, and another one of those that teaches those lessons you kind of miss as a kid, but you definitely see it as an adult. And also, I love how this one came out. It's probably my favorite of the whole bunch. Moving on, we have the first of these silly styles I chose for this bottom row, and that is Mii's from Nintendo. So I don't have a lot of like significance with Mii's. I just thought it would be a cute style to try and imitate. So that's what I'm doing. I used references from hair that's available and faces that's available and stuff like that. The hardest part about this was trying to capture that like 3D look, which I don't think I succeeded very well. Like I used a lot of gradients to sort of replicate it, but I don't know how well it came out. And also it was so funny because the only line art on this picture is on her face, because that's the only line art on Mii's. But yeah, I think it came out pretty cute. I've made Maya as a Mii before, I'm pretty sure. I just don't know if it was on a Wii or a 3DS or something, but I think it came out super cute and I tried my very best. I got a little frustrated because I kept merging layers before I needed them to be merged, but moving on, we have another fun style, South Park. I know several people have done this one as well, but I would just spent like, not this weekend, not last weekend, but the weekend before, I spent playing South Park and the Stick of Truth, which is actually a really amazing game. Like, it's so much fun. I went into it because it was like $8 on a Steam sale, and I wasn't really sure what to expect from it. You got that typical South Park humor, but as an RPG, it's actually really freaking solid, especially as a turn-based RPG. It's a really freaking solid game, and it's made by Obsidian, the same people who made Fallout New Vegas, which is like my favorite game ever. So it was just a blast to play, and it made me, you know, kind of fall back in love with South Park, even though it's kind of edgy. Probably not anymore, but it was when I was a kid. So I wanted to include this style, and it was a lot of fun. It was another like 16, one of those lineless styles, and I really enjoyed trying and replicating it, trying to get that cutout paper feel with this one. But yeah, I really like how this and 16 are probably my favorites on this challenge list. Moving on, speaking of Fallout, I did Maya in the style of the little Vault Boy. There is a Vault Girl, which is what I based this off of. But yeah, I just thought it would be cute. For this bottom row, I was thinking of sort of like fun, like silly styles to do, because I know a lot of people do cartoons and animation, and I did that on the top row. But on this bottom row here, I wanted to do sort of fun, silly styles that I either not seen a lot of people do or just were fun to draw, and this was one of those. I love Fallout. It's one of my favorite games. Like I said, Fallout New Vegas is my absolute favorite, so I thought it'd be nice to just sort of include this little homage to that. Moving on, we have everybody's favorite dead-eyed collectibles, Funko Pops. I was looking at my shelf where I have a few, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's gonna be so much fun, and I was right. I'd really like to get one of those customizable Funko Pop bases and make Maya out of it, but I guess I could consider this a preliminary sketch. But I don't like how her chest came out in this. Like, it's like I just took a flat character and drew like little C's like you do when you're a kid. But I do like how her like hair came out and stuff. I'm not much of a sculptor, so I don't think I can sculpt it very well. But yeah, I think it came out super cute. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of like polarizing opinions on Funko Pops. Some people love them, some people absolutely detest them. I myself, I have a few. I think they can be pretty cute. They're okay. They make a lot of stuff for like, what's what I'm looking for? Like I don't have time to dwell on this. Like lesser known fandoms and stuff. So yeah, I think this is pretty cute and a little fun to do. And finally, absolutely finally, we have my first non-human style, and that is My Little Pony. I absolutely love My Little Pony, and I love this style, and for a lot of years I did try to draw on it, but I never really succeeded, so I really buckled down on this one trying to get it right, and I use sort of rarity as a reference. But yeah, I think it came out super cute, and what you're not going to see in this video is where I go back and colored in all the line art to make these look a bit better on some of them. But yeah, My Little Pony is so well animated, and the storytelling is so well done. It's not hard to understand why it has such a following. Some of the people are less than savory, and those people are pretty loud, but what are you gonna do? If you enjoy what you enjoy, you can't stop yourself, friends. So moving on to the coloring for this, like I said, I'm overall happy with how this challenge came out. A lot of these styles were really fun to do, especially the lineless ones, as I don't typically do a lot of lineless art anymore. Like I said, 16 and South Park are probably my favorites that came out, because I feel like I got them really close. But yeah, that is this, and you should be shifting on into the final piece. If you want to see a bigger version of this, you can check out my DeviantArt linked below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, don't click that like button. You can click subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, don't click that little bell so you can get a notification every time I upload a new video. And check out my social media, links in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.